Welcome back to my daily breakdown of the preliminary hearing of California versus Larry Millete in the heartbreaking case of Maya Millete. This hearing was in 2023 and the trial date is March 7th, 2026. It's coming up. This is a local case for me. New episodes are dropping almost every day, so make sure you have your notification bell set up so you don't miss out. To catch up on all of the episodes, to bookmark or share the entire playlist, or to get some context if you just happened upon this video, the playlist is in order and can be found at bit.ly/mm playlist. I will spell that out for you. It's lowercase bit.ly/capital M hyphen capital P lowercase LAYLIST. So with that, thank you for being here again and enjoy this episode. Hi there, welcome back. It's Dawn here, and I keep forgetting to correct the intro. I have to do a new intro. I don't know why I keep thinking March 7th is the trial date. It's March 9th. March 7th is a Saturday. I think I had the 7th on my mind because it was December 7th when Maya was last seen. So that always sticks out in my mind. So in any case, as we get closer to the trial date, I doubt there'll be any more changes, but it'll matter more as we get closer. And I'll remind you then too. So welcome back. We're on day 4. We're on the testimony still on direct of Officer Culver, who was called with 3 other officers, 3 different patrol cars to the home of Larry and Maya Millete by Mary Chris, her older sister, on the 10th of January, after not hearing from her sister for a few days and having plans to go to Big Bear, which fell apart because there was no Maya. So with that, we will take a look at this testimony. Continuing, there'll be a little bit more direct and some cross. We always love the cross examination by Larry's then attorney, Bonita Martinez. And so this is episode 2 of this on day 4 of the actual hearing in 2023.
Thank you. Officer Culver, before we broke this afternoon, you had indicated that you spoke with Allison Volkening and she had no information about May's whereabouts, correct?
That's correct.
And she was concerned about the fact that she had not heard from May Millete.
That's correct.
And did you also speak with one of May's other close friends, a woman by the name of Courtney Cobb?
Yes.
And did Courtney, the phone number that you reached Courtney at, was that a local phone number?
No.
Where was Courtney located?
Courtney was located in Italy, and her phone number was associated with Italy.
Did she indicate to you whether or not she had been in regular communication with May up until January 7th, 2021?
Yes.
And did Courtney have any information about May's whereabouts?
She did not.
Was she also concerned about the fact that she had not heard from May and her communication with May had abruptly stopped?
Yes, she was.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
Okay, so that will wrap up the direct. We'll now be hearing the cross start of Officer Culver. And one of the questions I had, it wasn't really 100% clear, but it gives me the impression that perhaps Officer Culver got the phone numbers of some of Maya's friends from Larry, because he was saying, well, maybe she's just went with one of her friends. So he was being a good cop and asked for their phone numbers. So it looks to me that he had reached out to Allison and Courtney to see if perhaps Maya was with them. He's looking for Maya. They don't quite know what the situation is, but they're very concerned and they're doing very good police work.
How did you find out about these individuals then?
So Miss Cobb, the person we just spoke about, her information was provided to me by Miss Julia and her husband. Miss Volkening actually called in to Chula Vista Police Dispatch requesting to speak with an officer related to this case.
Cross-examination.
Well. I didn't remember that that the judge actually had the same question that I did. So, but it doesn't say when Ms. Volganine called in. I was just a little confused about this because, again, this was basically a patrol officer who was taking this call for the officer who would have gone had he not been on limited duty due to a health issue. So I wasn't sure how this all came together. I'm sure the judge had the same questions. So thank you, Judge. And here we go with our favorite attorney, Bonita Martinez. Let's go.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, officer.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
You made corrections to the report that you had prepared on that evening of, it would be January the 10th already, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want to make sure about the corrections.
Facing you.
I'm sorry, Yana.
Okay, there.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure about the correction. What I understood from your report was Mary Chris said she last talked to May on Friday, January the 8th, 2001, when May canceled their proposal trip to Big Bear Mountain. That's incorrect?
Yes, ma'am.
So what is that entire statement incorrect?
The incorrect portion was that May never canceled the Big Bear trip. Specifically, Miss Drulier mentioned that the 8th was the last time she communicated with May, and that May had in fact never canceled the trip. Because she had not communicated with Miss Drulier at all.
So did you hear when you reviewed your tape, did she say she last talked to May on what date?
I believe it when I was reviewing my body-worn camera footage. I believe that Miss Drulier said the last time she communicated with May was on the 8th of January of 2021.
Okay. So that's still correct, that
Yes, ma'am.
January 8, 2020. It's only the portion where she canceled the trip to Big Bear Mountain.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is very important for a defense attorney. She's actually very much in her rights to be questioning this. So and it's not uncommon for notes to not match what actually happened. If you look at your medical records, you'd be shocked at how many incorrect things are in there. It's not necessarily malicious. It's just humans aren't perfect. In any case, he was thinking, evidently, when he wrote his report that Maya actually canceled the trip, but we know from Mary Chris's testimony that did not happen. So now it's the defense attorney's job to set this up as well. Who are you going to believe? Which is it? Did she cancel? Did she not cancel? She'll ask to speak to her on the 4th or the 8th. This is going to be very important, and we'll probably see more about this in the trial.
And this portion, I just want to make sure that it's still correct, that you have not made any misstatements while you were reviewing your body cam. Mary Chris said she believed May might have left the house to go for a prolonged hike because she was known to disappear for nearly a whole day when hiking, so she could have alone time.
Objection.
Is that still true?
Impeachment and proper testimony.
Hold on a second. No, I'll allow it. Because you've introduced some statements full flavor of what Mary Chris said. It might be a statement that is inconsistent with some of the other statements you've introduced. All right, so you can ask the question again.
It's a reasonable objection. Of course, the judge is overruling, but it's not this witness was not the one who testified. It was Mary Chris who testified. So there's some inconsistencies that the attorney Martinez is pointing out here, and justifiably so, rightfully so. It's a strange judgment call, but it's in this case, the judge is the jury in these preliminary hearings in California. So if this were to happen at trial, there might be a bigger fight over it, but we're just gonna go with the flow here is what I think the judge is doing.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Rollet made statements to you in such a manner that, or in essence, states she believed May might have left the house to go for a prolonged hike because she was known to disappear for nearly a whole day when hiking so she could have alone time.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
So this is what Larry told Mary Chris. When Mary Chris was on the stand, she said she wasn't familiar one way or another whether or not Maya went for hikes all by herself or whether she would have been gone all day. With 3 small children, one would think that would be unlikely, although she did have a husband at home caring for the children. We'll see how plausible this is.
Then there is this statement that I also wanted to have a clarification whether in fact it is accurate or you may have heard differently when you reviewed your body cam.
Yes, ma'am.
And it goes this way. Mary Chris said May had an affair approximately 6 months ago, which was the origin of all her troubles with Larry. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, in essence.
Okay.
So again, this would support the defense theory that Maya was just cheating on Larry and left voluntarily. And so this defense attorney actually has gone on the record since she no longer represents Larry, saying that that's exactly what she continues to believe.
Now, you had an opportunity to physically see this house on January the 10th, this Mr. and Mrs. Millete's house on January the 10th, 2021.
Yes, ma'am.
How satisfied are you from that night when you were there for what, couple of hours?
Approximately.
That you did not see any signs of violence or fights?
As I mentioned before, I did not get a chance to see every single room of the house because my partner, Officer Lopez, and I divided that responsibility. But from the portions of the house that I did specifically observe, I was satisfied that there did not appear to be any sign of struggle or violence.
When you were having this talk with your co-officers that night, did you have that kind of dealings with the other officers, like Officer Lopez, I believe, and 3 of you?
None of us, when we discussed our respective parts in this investigation, none of us located anything that led us to believe that any sort of struggle had occurred within the house.
Okay, and from your point of view and your understanding from your communication with the other officers present, none you're satisfied with what you had done as far as searching and looking at everything that night?
Yes, ma'am. I'm satisfied that between the three of us, we were able to check every part of the house.
Okay, and when you left the house, after you left the house, was there anything in your mind that you felt you would like to come back and look at?
Objection, vague, relevance.
Sustain, vague.
Okay. There were allegations or strike that. When you were there at the house, did you smell any chemical or cleaning material that would indicate that someone was cleaning the house?
No, ma'am.
Did you speak to the children while you were at the residence of Mr. and Mrs. Millete?
No, ma'am.
And in fact, Mr. Millete was very welcoming. What can you explain why you felt like he was very welcoming?
Yes, as soon as my partners and I arrived at the house, very nearly the first words out of his mouth were inviting us in. In many of my calls for service, through my training and experience in law enforcement, we often have to request permission to come into somebody's home, whereas Mr. Millete invited us in right away.
There was no hesitation on his part.
No.
I'm just curious. You can, if you're comfortable, leaving in the chat or in the comments, whether you're replaying or watching this as it premieres, what your thoughts are about that. Why would Larry have been so welcoming and inviting these officers in if there was a crime, if his wife was missing, and so friendly? There are other accounts of him being super friendly and gracious as a host. And not being worried and distressed. What do you think that's a sign? Does that show you anything? What would you think if you were on the jury about that? Just to add to that, but because obviously this defense attorney, Ms. Martinez, thinks that works in Larry's favor. Do you think that, or do you think it works against him? Because the state doesn't necessarily, takes pretty much the opposite view. By the way, so the previous testimony from officers that were, I believe it was I can't remember his title, specialist David Gerber, who came in when there was a search warrant to search based on what was defined in the search warrant. This was a little bit later. So oftentimes you'll hear of an initial search. This was a warrantless situation because Larry invited them in. He didn't have to do that. And so they did make observations. They did have body-worn camera. They didn't come in with the videographer like David Gerber or anything like that, a crime scene specialist. But in this case, they did have eyes on that home, and on Larry, and his children were already asleep. So in this case, just on Larry, and then of course Mary, Chris, and Richard Drule.
Did you see any firearms inside the house during that search performed on January the 10th, 2021?
No, ma'am, I did not.
So again, this wasn't technically a search. It was technically more or less a welfare check. He was invited in. They weren't searching the home. They did have eyeballs, though, of course. Bring her. She loves to shuffle those papers. Prayers. Thank you. Thanks for watching today's breakdown of the Larry Maya Millete preliminary hearing here in San Diego. I always prefer to use Maya's name and not the defendant's. In any case, this is California versus Larry Millete in the heartbreaking case of Maya Millete, who is still missing. Remember, new episodes drop every day with my insights as a local to this case. Since I'm not monetized, YouTube really doesn't promote my videos a whole ton. So if you want to make sure you catch tomorrow's episode, please like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you know as soon as it's up, or you can play it later. And if you can, please share this with someone who might be interested in following this case, especially if they're local, but anywhere around the world, to be honest, because Maya is still missing and it would help get more eyes on her case. So again, thank you for joining me. The full playlist is at bit.ly/mm playlist. And again, it's lowercase bit.ly// capital MM hyphen capital P lowercase LAY LIST. Thanks again for being here. See you later.